Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And as customary, I'd like to have a moment of silence, please. I'd like to make the announcement that this meeting is being recorded and televised by a local cable channel. I need a motion to approve bill and payroll warrants.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Need a motion to accept correspondence in the read file?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Does anybody here wish to speak in public forum? Seeing none, thank you very much. Approval of meeting minutes, open session, September 24th, 2019. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I'd like to, we're going to move, change a little bit around at the beginning of this meeting with the appointment of Sergeant to the Whitman Police Department. Frank? Do you want to?
Sure. The chief has requested, and we've talked about this previously, we have a vacancy for the rank of sergeant in the police department. The list is available to you in your packet, and the first named individual on the list is Peter Aiken. So it is my recommendation to the board, along with the chief's recommendation to the board, that you act to appoint Peter Aiken to the rank of sergeant.
He's first on the list?
He is.
Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion on this? He's going to be sworn in tonight, Frank?
He will be sworn in privately.
Okay. All right, so all in favor?
Aye.
Congratulations. Is Peter here?
And you can all hang around if you want, but you can leave. Congratulations, Pete.
That's good. Good job, thank you.
What's that?
Congratulations. Good.
Thank you. Congratulations. Get them stripes. Okay, that being said, next on the agenda, we have a scheduled, well, actually, yeah, we can do it. A scheduled hearing meeting on the public hearing, the position of National Grid to install and maintain approximately 45 feet more or less and 4-inch gas main on Plymouth Street and from the existing 2-inch main at the intersection of Plymouth Street and South Ave easterly to the entrance of Old Cart Path condominiums development in order to provide gas services to the development. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Discussion. Is anybody here
National
from
Grid
National?
is present.
I am here from National.
Okay. The only question, the only thing, concerns that I have is like, and I think I voiced them the last time, was the fact that when you do put in the new gas mains or whatever, that usually you dig up the existing street, if there's a street there, right? It would be Plymouth Street would be dug up.
Right.
And then you, after you put the gas main in, you fill it in, and then a year later you come back and resurface it to try and make it as close to the street as possible. If I'm not mistaken, a section of Plymouth Street has been redone. Is that been done?
It's been quite a few years. I have that.
South Avenue.
South Ave, rather?
Right, South Ave, but
Yeah.
where they're going to, I don't think they'll be going down South Ave.
They won't be going to that, because I don't want, right. Was making sure is that it's level. Because
Right.
you replace the gas main on my
Yeah.
street, it's down that much, and it's been like 3 years, so
Right.
it's,
Right.
I'm just asking, that is a highly traveled road. And I would ask that you be particularly careful and when you resurface it. Anybody else have any?
Just first, I'm an engineer for the DPU, so I won't be voting on this, but I do at least have a question. The 46 feet of 4-inch main, is that to continue on the private property afterwards?
Yes, that's
Okay.
correct. That's the only public way that we're going onto.
Okay, and then if you take a right out of South Ave down Plymouth Street, 50 yards is Hanson, which is Columbia Gas's territory. Do you know
Yeah.
how far down the main extends from that point?
It's not going to go toward Hanson, it's going to just, like,
I
where
have not this
south,
main, I
oh,
have the
excuse me.
existing main.
I have no idea, right?
Okay.
It's a, so as a part of the DPW, would you please tell someone in National Grid about the divots that are in the road?
Right here.
And
So-
Yeah.
there's your commissioners.
The,
Because I did bring that back the last time I was
Yeah.
here, and he said that no work had been done recently, so
So-
it was 3 years ago that it was done on your
Approximately
street?
when they redid the gas main on my street, Lance Ave, Bert. It's about 3 years ago, I think, maybe, or maybe even longer. Has it been more than that? Oh, yeah.
Time
My neighbor.
flies, Dan.
So my request has fallen on deaf ears, so if you could go, you know.
So I mean, I
Pick it
can
up.
say for on the state level, state code is that within 12 months after National Grid does construction, they have to measure within a
Grade.
quarter of an inch
Yeah.
of grade.
Right.
So if it's sunk below a quarter of an inch, yeah,
That's it, okay. Well,
okay.
when
I'm
somebody-
sure the DPW will help you out there.
Well, when they redo the road eventually. Anyway, Brian,
Yeah. This part of, that's actually on the public road, is that being paid for by your company or the company?
That is
that's-
not, that is being paid for by the developer.
The
Yes.
developer of the.
Correct, correct, Old Cop, Badway.
Thank you.
any further questions? Anybody from our DPW commissioners have a question? Yes, sir.
I live at 824.
Please, sir,
come up.
please step up, state your name and address.
Okay. I'm Scott Esau, and I live at 824 South Ave. I'm just wondering, the pipeline, is it the one on South Ave and just going across Plymouth Street to the new development?
It is going to be brand new,
Okay,
and South Ave is here.
Yeah.
What number are you?
824.
824, so you're, oh, right here.
Right, exactly,
so
right there, yeah.
It will pick up, it's going to tap into the existing,
Right in front of 831?
right here, no.
Okay.
That's, it's going to, right here, and go into the private road.
Okay, and the only question I had, I know this section
Yeah.
has had problems over the years, and like at least 3 or 4 times they've spliced it together or whatever. But I guess it doesn't matter if you're going from that one. But would that interrupt service for my house
It
at
will
all?
not.
It will not.
No.
Then the only other question, I've had National Grid's been there for the electric recently, and I know you're probably separate, but my driveway has been blocked.
Is that right? Yeah.
Several times I haven't been able to leave,
Yeah.
and I've had to ask him to move, so just make sure maybe that you
Yeah.
tell people not to block the
I will.
driveway.
I will. I'll
I
bring that
appreciate
message
it.
back.
All right,
Okay.
that's it.
Thank you. Does anybody on the DPW have any questions?
We've had discussions, I've had discussions with the developer about the trench going across.
Yeah.
It reaches over into the southbound lane of Plymouth Street, doesn't go down into South Ave at all. To address his concerns, they did lay a new gas main from Perry Ave up to Plymouth Street and then down along before we paved South Ave.
Right.
So that section's all good.
Beautiful.
And it should be okay.
Good, okay. No other further questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Abstain?
I abstain.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Now we're going to open up a joint meeting with the Board of Public Works Commissioners, discuss sewer force mains replacement in town meeting. Okay, who wants to start?
Why don't we open with the, I think it won't be a surprise to many people. We've had 2 significant failures in the force main as it travels from Whitman to Brockton, across Alger Street and into the woods there. The DPW procured funding and did an assessment of the line, and there was significant potential for failure. So the reason the DPW is coming tonight is to talk about what needs to be done in order to ensure that we have a working sanitary system. So with that, I know that Eastern Environmental Partners has done some significant work on this, but there's a lot to be done. So Kevin, I think, if you're ready.
I have one question here. Do they have to open up, we're having a joint meeting, we've opened up, they're all here, do they need to?
And basic form, they are called together in a meeting. I don't know what their format is for opening, but
Well, it's
I
posted
believe
anyway,
they're
a joint
present
meeting.
and posted.
Right, okay, I just want to make sure, you know?
But the same thing, we say
Yeah.
6 o'clock, it's 10 to go.
Okay,
Yeah, I guess Frank was saying, you know, we have the twin force main that starts at the Auburn Street pump house, goes down Auburn Street to about the Brockton line, and then goes up through the woods and travels through Brockton to their pump station. That's our main outflow to Brockton. And it's as old as the system was put in when the system was put in
many years ago.
many years ago.
1984.
Yeah.
So we had 2 significant breaks over the last couple of years that well over $1 million that it cost us. We were lucky where they were because they were accessible. Since then, we got appropriations and we did some land clearing and then followed up with significant amount of soil boring, soil analysis with environmental partners, and you know, they've determined that we've run our lifespan. The breaks that we had were from the outside in. They weren't the inside out.
Oh,
So it was the soil, combination of soil, water, acidity, things like that, that were rotting the pipe from the outside in. And the additional soil borings that we did showed more potential areas of the same similar soils, same water conditions, the very wet area once we get out in the woods going towards Brockton. And we got 35 years out of probably a
Yeah, it's a
30-year pipe.
the pipe is rated for 30 years. We're past 30. It was put in 1984, so.
So that was the first step we did in the spring and the summer, and the next step is we would like to have a town meeting to appropriate funds for engineering, permitting, design, and getting bid documents together. We can't wait till the spring to start that, and then go into, you know, typical bid and construction and all that. You know, we're looking to get the engineering and the permitting and the design done through the winter. We can get a much better scope of value of the project. And that will allow us then to come to the spring town meeting with a lot more information, a lot better information. There's a lot of different options we can do, varying in all different costs, you know, but I think allowing us to do we transfer now at a special town meeting to get that process started and then go in the spring, and then hopefully that would lead into a summer construction and, you know.
do you have any idea of how much this would cost? Just the beginning, permitting, and then?
Right now, we're looking for a $500,000
500,000.
transfer from sewer, water returned, retained earnings.
And we can pay for it out of sewer enterprise?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, so right now, it'd just be a transfer.
Right, your transfer. Do you remember when we did, and I don't know if it was the sewer line or the water line, where we did the inside of the pipe, we put like a membrane up Route 14,
Yeah, sleeve.
the sleeve, right?
Yep.
Is that what we're looking to maybe do, or dig up and put a whole new?
We've talked about, and the engineers have talked about bypassing the main with a PVC pipe. And then
Oh, put it
also-
beside the old one and?
Correct. Yeah, putting a gate in, bypassing, putting another gate in, but then we've also talked about sleeving the old one so that, for an emergency.
Right,
So, but that's what,
that's not a bad idea.
that's what we need the money for the design and the engineering,
Right.
and so.
I like that idea. I mean, you have something,
Part of this is they have to do a feasibility study and file plans.
Right.
Those are the things
right,
that the money is needed for now. The projected cost for a new pipe is in excess of $8 million. The projected cost for dual system is around $15 million. So
Really?
good ideas come with cost.
Wow.
Right.
My only question, Kevin, is will 500,000 cover the engineering, the design? Because that should be part of your feasibility study.
Yeah, we've gotten estimates from environmental partners.
And then-
They're very familiar with this. They dealt with when this.
Would it make sense to ask for an upper level, and if it's not used, I mean, you can go up to 800,000, we'll say.
Contingency, well,
Yeah.
we may have to do that anyway, because we have two bills that are going to be due to the city of Brockton once we settle our contract for sewer, and that, we're reasonably close to that now. But we're gonna need probably, what, 200,000, Dennis? For that. So if you're looking at 200,000, you're looking at, 900 may be the number
Yeah.
you need to work with.
You know, and if
We
you
do
don't
have-
spend it,
We have just under $5 million
Yeah.
in retained earnings. And really, that's the purpose of having that fund,
right.
to address things like this.
Now, if you're saying that a new pipe, if we put in a new PVC pipe and not do the, we're looking at maybe 5 million, we're not gonna expend all our earnings in the, in the,
No, we'd have to go out to
Because-
bond.
There's
Huh?
another.
We'd have to go out to bond and.
right, because
and-
you don't, I mean, that is
No,
for
no.
emergencies.
No, we still have to maintain and
Right,
run our sewer system,
absolutely, yeah.
so.
I just don't
we're
wanna
gonna-
know.
We'll have to go out to bond, and, well, we don't know what we're up against,
Right.
money-wise, so.
Because I think that some people are gonna turn around and say, well, if you got $5 million and that fund would just pay for it out of that, and you can't do that.
No,
Because
No.
all of a sudden the pump house goes down, you can't have any emergency to fix
we,
it.
yeah, we still have to
Maintain.
make sure everything's going to
Just want that
Brockton.
understood, a lot of people won't understand.
Right.
You know? Anybody else have any concerns or questions? I think so. What are you looking for us in this discussion, Frank?
Well, the Board of Commissioners is requesting a meeting, so we're going to have to call for a town meeting.
Yep.
Yeah,
How much notice do we need to provide the public for a special town meeting?
well, you need a minimum of 2 weeks, but what I'd hoped for was to have the discussion tonight, get the information out there, get together with the town moderator and the town clerk to identify a best date, and then at our October 5th meeting, call for the meeting. You need 2 weeks from the time you call for a meeting to hold a town meeting. So I wouldn't want to do it tonight and say we're meeting in 2 weeks.
We really need to get it out that this is really important. This
Right.
is something that people need to come and.
We need 150 voters
Yeah,
to do
yeah,
this.
because this is serious. I mean, we don't want the woods filled with sewage.
And we really don't want to have to spend another $1 million on another break.
It's $500,000 every time we have a break,
Right.
minimum.
Band-Aid. Just
So, we're just praying that we can get it done, but we
Our
need the
special town meetings, we
support.
usually on a Monday night, usually, Frank?
Usually. We'll have to look at the football schedule too, though.
We had our Monday
We
game
lose to the
already.
Patriots
Right,
every time.
every year. Yeah. Well, they already played last
Oh,
night.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was a practice for them. But, maybe like the 18th or something like that, or, well,
You'd need 2 weeks from the 5th.
the
2
5th,
weeks from the 5th.
right, so it could be that, maybe the 25th,
It would have to be the 25th.
So,
maybe, would that be okay if
That's
we
the week
look
of
at
Yeah,
that?
we got Thanksgiving, so.
Oh,
Thanksgiving is the
8th.
28th.
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 So it is
25th is that
Thanksgiving
week.
weekend.
Well, we can push it
people
and
on the
say,
Monday of Thanksgiving are not thinking in town meetings.
Right, if you put it at the Monday after Thanksgiving,
Yeah, I'd say
Okay.
you're far enough away from Christmas and you're after Thanksgiving that hopefully,
so you're looking at possibly December 2nd.
Yeah, the
Correct.
2nd or 9th.
It's a good move, okay.
Yep.
So we'll
So
just,
but we have to make sure that the people that need to be there are available.
right,
right.
okay.
So we're starting the discussion now. It'll be revisited when they set the board sets the agenda for the 5th, and that's when we'll be ready to call for a meeting.
Right, because there should be other articles on that probably, right?
Well, There'll be a couple of articles, but this is not the meeting where people should be saying, oh, I need
Right.
money for
This is
this, I need
almost
money
like
for
an
that.
emergency meeting.
This is dealing with some very specific needs. If there are any unpaid bills, I'll put them on
Yeah,
that. But
right.
I'm not shopping for articles right now.
Right.
So we can always open the meeting, we can open it and close it the same.
And that's why I need the time too, to have the warrant prepared
Yeah,
for the board to review and set a date.
okay.
The 2nd and the 9th, the Patriots do not play.
That's the date then.
Either one, they're Sunday in both of those weeks.
Nice you have this scheduled.
Thank you,
That's
Richard.
it.
Okay, so no motion is required on this issue, Frank?
Not at this moment,
at this
but
point, okay.
the purpose was to hear from the board and
Yeah,
to make people aware of what we're up against.
all right, and let me tell you, this is something that just needs to be taken care of.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
So no,
it's very important
yeah.
This was one of the items also, the,
on the capital.
on the
Yep.
capital plan, so.
Correct.
Yeah,
It's also been looked at by another set of eyes that has deemed it very urgent.
yeah, very urgent, yeah.
High priority.
Okay. That being said, I guess the joint meeting is closed.
Thank you, gentlemen.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Next on the agenda is the town administrator's report. Frank?
Okay, we are preparing, as you know, for budgets, and Lisa and I have been working on the budgets that are directly responsible from our office. And
Okay.
I'm going to invite Lisa up to talk about those budgets and what we're initially looking at.
Okay.
So you can sit up there, Lisa, if you'd like.
Good evening, Mr. Vice Chair, members of the board. As Frank said, he and I have been working together to put the budget together for the departments that we are responsible for in the Board of Selectmen's office. And just want to bring your attention to just a few points where there's been significant increases in the budget. Basically, we are still working on it. There's going to be some numbers that we're going to tweak and update, but right now this is the preliminary. So the first area that I'd like to bring your attention to is line item number 9, the education expense. If you notice that increase request for 2021 is up to $22,000, up from $7,000. And the reason for that is that there was an increase for professional development and training for our new police chief and deputy police chief in contracts. Called for a specific amount that they could budget for their professional development training. So that will explain the increase in that line item. The second line item, number 19, basically there is a $200 increase in the pilot program. And on that, that's just, that reflects contractual allowances. Those are like a 3% increase in the taxes on that portion. The second area is line item number 91, under the custodian. So in that, we have a contractual increase and a step increase of 2%. So that explains why that is a little bit higher. The next line item is number 97, the maintenance technician. You'll see that's increased $429. And again, we have a salary increase of 2% effective February 7, which is the anniversary date of that employee. Next line item, number 100, town reports. So there's an increase on that of $4,000. And on that, with the adoption of the capital plan and the budget changes, we'll need additional, more printed material to go along with the budget, the town report. So that explains why on that increase.
Just to add, there'll be significant communication with the public, and I don't want to be hamstringed and not able to provide information. I'm thinking in terms of a general mailing to make people aware. of what we're doing, because we're going to need public turnout and support on this.
So the next increase that you'll see, significant increase, is line number 173, the vocational transportation. So that contract is going to be up in June of 2020. So we're going to be bidding that very soon. Taking into consideration increased costs, fuel increases, we've increased that by $3,000 to cover any increases in that contract.
This is the non-mandated, right?
No,
That's
this is the vocational transportation. Norfolk Aggie.
Oh, Norfolk Aggie, okay.
Yeah.
All right, it's fine, just a point on that there. At a school committee conference this year that's going to be held down in the Cape, one of the resolutions that one of the schools has put forward to the state is to try and get more competition in transportation and busing. It seems like you may have, like, First Student may cover all of South Shore because there's no other busing company. There's no competition. So one of the resolutions that they're putting forth that we will be voting on is to enact that and see if they'll be able to, the State House will be able to develop something like that.
Well, there's no question that First Student is a long-haul company, but we've been very successful in local transportation
Right.
using
North River
North River
Collaborative.
Collaborative,
Right, exactly.
who has done a great job for us and has held the line for 3 years on pricing.
Right, but that is just transporting a few students, like Norfolk and Norfolk Aggie.
Exactly.
But I'm talking about transporting hundreds of
No, I
kids.
get that.
Okay, thank you. That's all I had to say.
Okay. So the next line that you'll see there's a significant increase is line 224, Veterans Benefits.
Just gonna say.
So we increased that line item by $40,000. And the reason on that is that based on the straight line expenditures up to currently, right now, 9/30, we've already expended $54,100 on veterans benefits. So obviously this shows there's an increase in need. So in order not to fall short, we increased that line item by $40,000 to make sure that we're meeting the needs of veterans in that area.
Doesn't the state reimburse us part of it?
75%.
75%.
You'll note that last year, we spent 192.2. We only budgeted 160, so we had to transfer money in there. It looks like this year we're going to spend between 210 and 220. So we're going to have a deficit in that line this year of somewhere between 30 and 40,000.
That's something that'll be on the special town meeting next? I know.
That would be dealt with, yes.
Thank you.
The key here is providing for need. The funds that we provide under Veterans Benefit are for people that, but for that, would probably not be eating or have a roof over their head. It's not excess stuff. You really have to be in need to even qualify for these services. And we do get, as long as we're prompt in getting our information into them, we get reimbursed 75%. The problem is we get it in the next year.
Right.
So you'll even see situations where our budget will go down and we'll get more because we're being paid for the prior year. But I'm pretty sure that we're going to need money in that line.
Okay, so the next line item that you'll see a significant increase is 256, which is our medical and life insurance.
Yeah.
Town match is looking at a 3% increase for medical insurances, life insurances, so we've increased the budget line amount to make sure that we can meet that percentage increase. And the next, last but not least, line item 258, county retirement. You'll see a 10% increase in that line item, and that's because we have actuarial tables are being adjusted to meet payrolls. As our payroll continues to grow, the retirement will grow. Obviously, overtime is not counted for retirement, but it is going to add to our payroll. So we wanted to make sure that we had enough to cover the retirement costs as well.
Right. Frank, part of that goes to OPEB too?
No,
No?
actually,
The county.
every 2 years, we do an actuary review, and these charges are based on what we collect from employees for retirement contributions. And there are several classes. There are few employees left that are 5%. So 5% of their regular salary goes into retirement. There are a few more at 7%. A large majority of the employees now are at 9%, and there's a step up. You contribute 9% of your regular salary, and then you contribute 2% in addition. I think it's over 30,000. And those are increments that are intended to capture some of the projected costs for future retirement. The biggest issue here is our mortality tables are not accurate. People are living longer, and because of that, we're paying more. I remember at a town meeting, someone got up and asked, why does this retirement keep going up? And you'll remember Lois Trumbull, she had to be about 80 then, and she was our secretary. And Rich, guy at the table, said, well, we're paying that because employees are living too long. And she, of course, said, well, thank you, sir. But the fact of the matter is, it's costing us. And they're constantly adjusting the tables to reflect that. And if there's a significant permanent movement, then you'll see a change in the retirement assessment going forward. It's something we have to work with. My intent in bringing this forward is, in the past, we always began our budgets with a review by the Board of Selectmen, and I want to return to that, and I want to make sure that the board is having an opportunity to review all of the budgets, so everybody knows what's going on.
Okay, this is just our portion of the budget.
This is what we directly
Right.
oversee. Then there are, of course, other departments, other boards.
Right.
Police and fire are under the Board of Selectmen, but there are significant budgets that do their own, and you will be reviewing
Okay.
those budgets as well. These are the ones I have to calculate.
Right, yeah.
I rely on them to do the other ones.
Okay. That it? On your town administrator's report, or you have something else for us?
That's it. And Randy will have some comments on another committee that we're joined on.
Thank you very much, Lisa.
Thank you.
Okay, next on our budget is a review of the preliminary levy and classification analysis. Frank, on that one.
Well, I actually thought we'd tie that into the budget overview because they play hand in hand.
Okay.
Our preliminary levy, as you will remember, last year, in order to address need and the anticipated excess levy, we voted to put $350,000 into the budget. That was a pretty good guess because we ended up with, a $42,000 excess levy this year. So we pretty much tagged it.
If we have a special town meeting, can we appropriate the remaining 42,000?
Yes, as long as we haven't set the tax rate, we can continue to raise and appropriate. But if it's after we set the tax rate, then we have to transfer.
Right. Well, then we'll know we got 42,000 in case there's unpaid bills. We don't have to take it out of,
It can be done that way,
yeah,
yes.
yeah, why not?
You can't pay sewer and water out of it, but
No,
you
but
can pay
we can-
the,
if we have
and they're
the-
small bills. They're
Yeah,
really,
small
they're really
bills.
small numbers.
Oh, 42 grand, it's a lot of money for small bills. Is that it, Frank, on that?
That's it for me.
Okay, Randy, you're up. Budget Override Evaluation Committee.
All right, we were finally able to meet. We did have some hiccups with the consultant. He had a health issue, then I got sidetracked. But we did meet, and I think we accomplished a lot. A large portion of the conversation focused on basically our 5-year trends, a raw look at raw numbers. And unfortunately, it was not the most positive thing, that our budget trends over the last 5 years are basically proving not to be sustainable. That being said, one of the next, as we go forward, that's going to get diagnosed. This was a raw look at the numbers. There are numerous departments in town that have a lot of nuances that go into them that actually need a little bit further explanation and broken down. So the consultant will be doing that. We've also diagnosed what our 2021 new growth is going to be, and that's slightly over $1 million. We've come to the conclusion that excise revenue is down. It could be an economic trend, or it could be
Billing, could be billing cycles.
just a billing cycle thing. That will be looked into. What we've also realized is, as far as the state goes, we are not getting a lot of help. 5 years, our state aid has grown about 1.5%, and unfortunately, our Chapter 70 school aid has only grown to slightly over 0.5%, 0.59%. Going forward, we'll meet again November 18th, and between now and then, we're going to have the consultant go to just about every department head, sit down, have one-on-one meetings, get a full explanation of why they've grown, where are they going to be in the next 5 years, and are some of these costs controllable? And that's what I think you're going to see us focus on. Like Lisa mentioned, that our fixed costs are going up. Really can't do a lot about those. And I had a note here, health insurance, retirement costs. And kind of try and figure out some next steps. One of the things that was said was look for internal efficiency. Doesn't necessarily mean cutbacks, and I think Frank may be able to explain slightly on this, but the consultant has some ideas where we can actually accomplish possibly some levy expansion. That doesn't mean people paying more, but the way we fund things could open up some levy space. Also, development of and implementing some different programs on exactly how we're paying for
Cost sharing,
certain
making
items.
sure that we're getting the best possible procurements when we go out, looking at joint purchasing. We have the opportunity to buy, what's the word I'm looking for? Supplies, aggregate and things from DPW, from county bids as opposed to individual bids. We do seek bids, and we look at which one's going to benefit us more. And those all come into play. The real disappointment for us was that the new growth came in significantly lower than we anticipated. We haven't got into the weeds on that, but we are getting into it. There's a lot of building going around in town, but until it's assessed,
Right.
it's not in the growth.
And that was another.
That was a hiccup.
Yeah, well, that was another portion that ate up a pretty good chunk of time, is that, and I understand it, the people drive around, they see foundations, but they have to realize, although we may have some building permitted and you see some foundations, it's a culmination of a lot of people, building inspector, our assessor's office, Patriot Properties, before those things start hitting the rolls.
You know, doesn't a building or that doesn't come on the roll until maybe, until it's ready for occupancy?
What's there as of June 30th
Right.
is what's measured. And you don't, you know, if your building project is going to cost $400,000 and the foundation's in the wood's up, that's not 200,000, because it's not the marketable value of the property at that point. So we'll see growth in spurts. I was surprised. I really, I talked with Kathy, and we felt that 375 was a good number, and we were off by over 100. So that was not encouraging. On the plus side, our revenue stream allowed us to carry that number and still stay within the levy. On the plus side, again, free cash is going to be significant this year, but it's not budget money. It's
Right,
going to
that's
go,
one time, you don't,
it'll go towards some
capital.
but I'm hoping to see a good portion of that go into reserves. I'd like to see an increase in stabilization and capital stabilization. Kind of split that money up. So that's really where we are until the next.
Well, I would say if you took an overall look at where we are, we are,
We're healthy.
we are, well, no, I mean in the terms of progress, we are far and away ahead of where we were last year. We definitely have, what I've seen, just about every department head working, coming together. We get information coming in. Obviously, the assessor has gotten their stuff done earlier this year. We have preliminary budgets, and I think we will be in a good spot. As far as the committee goes, I am hoping that we would be in a position to make a recommendation by the first of the year.
Good. I've watched your meetings on cable, because, I don't attend because that would make 3 selectmen, and I don't want to, break the law. But I have been watching your meetings on TV, and they've been pretty active, and I like what I see.
Well, hopefully, the goal of the committee, and I think everyone's on board, is presenting information.
Right.
And with that, people will make their decisions, and
They tell me to
and we'll go from there.
Yeah, one of the things that interesting is not the lease purchase on vehicles, and I'm not, because I can remember us always doing three cruises, and then we decided to only go with 2, but then the one, and the following year, we found that it hurt us, so we ended up going back to 3. I don't know.
What I would say is definitely that has come up.
I think it was a recommendation from the Collins Center,
Yeah.
and Mr. Madden kind of agreed with it.
Right.
Yeah, pay what buy what you can afford.
Yeah, right now, we're still gathering information. What I would tell the public is, none of what right now is being talked about is set in stone.
Right,
It's
exactly.
really just a lot brainstorming and collecting information. So there will be hopefully, well, I know there will be a formal presentation either at a meeting or, and definitely I will be giving one at some point to this committee. So,
When you come up with some resolutions.
yeah, right, when we actually come to some type of conclusion, everyone will know.
Yeah, okay. Is that it?
That's it.
Okay. Thank you very much, Randy. Under new business, act on the request of Boston Auto Mall LLC, Shirakis. Pronounce that, what, Vosbanian?
Yep.
To change the name of the business on the Class 2 auto dealer's license on the premise located at 1113 Bedford Street. If approved, the action to rescind if approved, the action rescinds the Class 2 auto dealer's license for the Boston Auto Mall LLC located at 113 Bedford Street. What this is just a change of names on the location, but in the motion on this, I would like that to be included, that the Boston Auto Mall, changing the name to South Shore Auto Mall LLC. The license will be released upon our receipt of proof of workman's comp, insurance, surety bonds, and a financial statement, and a final approval by current building inspector. Right?
So those are all conditions of the.
All conditions of the
approval.
motion and the lease. Do I hear a motion?
I'll motion that.
Second?
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Anything else?
So since it's just a name transfer, us not agreeing to do that until those conditions are met, does that affect the business in any way?
At that point, they will turn in their old license and take the new license.
Okay.
But it's a transfer of assets.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
a different
Yeah.
company.
That's
Okay.
it. I don't think has he done anything on the property yet? Do I come forward?
we haven't done shop hop.
Yeah, sure.
So we got approved, now that, it's like 2 days afterwards, we received a letter in the mail that we cannot use that name because the name, somebody took the name over a
Yeah.
few weeks in advance of us recording it to that name, so we discussed it with the person to take the name back, if he could allow it to us to have it. He said no, so we had to change the name to a new name.
Okay.
And we haven't registered with the Secretary of State at that time yet, so now we have to register with Boston, South Shore Auto Mall now.
Okay, now, have you turned in your license, the old license?
We never did receive the license for the board yet.
Okay, all right, so that'll be null
So
and
2
void.
days after the approval, we found out we can't use the name because we received the letter in the mail.
Okay. All right, so you understand the conditions that have
I
to
think
be
that was
met?
part of it anyways, what we were
Right,
saying.
yeah,
Yeah.
right, we just want to make sure.
We would have bought a surety bond for that name, then
Yeah.
that would have gone to no use, and we
Okay.
had to buy it again. We're already in process of doing all that.
Beautiful, thank you. Okay, any further questions? All in favor?
Aye.
You're all set? Thank you. Act on the request of Stephen Morse, Commander of the VFW Post 697, to hold a Tri-Town Veterans Parade on Monday, November 11th, 2019, in accordance with the route outlined in the letter received on October 8th. Do I hear a motion?
Second.
This is a triennial parade.
Right.
Each year it moves from Whitman to Abington to Rockland.
Right, well, now, but we're having it in Whitman.
Yep.
Yeah. I also noticed they changed the route. We're meeting
It
down by
seems to get
Colebrook.
shorter every year.
I know it, so whatever.
Next year, we're just going to meet at the VFW.
I know it. I'll walk around the thing, yeah. So, do I hear a motion?
Let's give a break for these old guys like me who have to walk.
Be nice. We'll get you a scooter. Okay. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I expect to see us all there. Thank you. Set the November meeting dates.
Well, before you do that, I would like to address the request for meeting rooms.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
SDIP is the agency that determines whether or not you get a surcharge on your insurance. And there is an appeal process
Okay,
when you are assessed a surcharge, that if it's 50 or more % not your fault, then you're able to not incur the service charge. They have to hold hearings on each and every appeal. The woman that that's requested our assistance in providing meeting space actually lives in Whitman and travels up and down the coastline holding hearings. No one wants to go to Boston. So what I'm suggesting is schedule and space permitting to allow the use of the town hall to hold these hearings, provided we're notified in advance and we've determined that the meeting room that's to be used is available. Most likely it will be room 21, which is where the finance committee meets, because these are daytime meetings. And unless we have financial officers, then we're not using that room. So it accommodates the hearing. It's more convenient for people south of Boston.
so this will be on a
come
regular
here.
basis?
So it'll be on a semi-regular basis.
They paying
And,
rent? Couldn't resist.
It serves a municipal purpose.
Yeah, good.
So it's, while typically if someone asks to use a room, I'll look at the schedule and okay it with this as a regular thing. I did want the approval of the board to move forward with that.
So you want a motion on that effect?
I do.
Okay, do I hear a motion? So move.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
You got it, Frank. All right, set the November meeting schedule. Are we meeting on the 29th? So today's the 27th. Are we meeting next Tuesday? The
No.
29th. Huh?
No.
I don't know why I had it.
What I'm hoping to see is November 5th and 19th.
It's good for me.
And the 19th will be the classification hearing.
And I know, Randy, you can't make the 5th?
Yeah, and Frank had
Right.
mentioned that to him, so it's not, move along without me, I guess.
There's not, I don't anticipate anything critical on the 5th, but we're going to be a little busy on the 19th.
Okay.
And I didn't want to meet the following week because that's Thanksgiving week. It's hard to get people.
All right, 5th and 19th it is. Okay. We need to be going into executive session in accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A. 1, to discuss the reputation, character, or physical condition of or mental health, rather than professional competency of an individual. And 2, to conduct strategy sessions in preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel. Do I hear a motion? Do I hear a second?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
We'll be coming into open session to adjourn only. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.